Hey guys, how's it going? We got some redemption for the water. Here is one practice that I did off camera, just to see if what I was thinking of worked, and it did. It's not a crazy amount of layers, just a few, you know. Got sketch, base color, get rid of the sketch, the ripples, overlay, problem solved. So, we're gonna do another one, and then we're gonna do a full drawing as a full redemption arc here. So here's what this one's looking like. Just a sketch, and then here is the reference. This guy right here. I'm kind of using it as like, I'm not using it 100%. I'm basically just using it for the center part. The water, you know. We won't be going too much into the top there. Yeah, and then I threw some base colors on there, and then we're gonna get the color variation in, and I'll see you guys when I get to the next step. And I'm just using this color as like a color variation here. Just because not all rocks are the same color, obviously, so, you know, just a little bit more, something extra to look at. Alright, we got tier 1, I'll call it, of the rocks in. And I did it the other way in this one. I did the cool colors first and then the warm. I'm just kind of messing around. I'm gonna try adding some cooler shadows, so something like this maybe, and see how that works out. Mixing the two of them, it's a little tricky, trying to make sure it doesn't look like absolutely horrible. Yeah, but that's why this is a practice, you know. I'm kind of going around, at least my initial plan is going to be going around to the places that don't have direct sunlight, and those will be all the cool shadows. Because something like this, at least in the reference, is pretty, has quite a strong, like it's quite a lot of sun is hitting it. Same thing here, but with these, not really, you know. And even in here, there's going to be some blue, because really only this direct area here is getting like strong sun, and the rest is a little bit, so you have the cooler shadows still, you know, because like we got a shit ton of blue right here. And now that we got the base of like the cooler shadows in, I'm gonna add some just lighter blues and stuff just for some variation. It's looking a little rough right now, to be honest. So we're gonna try and patch it up a little bit. So. And I'm just gonna go back on top, add some more warmer colors on top, for similar to highlights, not anything super high contrast, but just something else, you know, just a little bit of extra detail here and there, just to make it look like more like a whole piece, make the lighting make a little bit more sense, because it's falling apart a little bit right now, so we'll try and clutch and save it. I'm just going to be using a darker gray here as like a quasi liner, not to like the full precision, but just to give it a little bit more definition, where I feel like it's lacking, you know. And most of the definition, to be honest, is going to come from the multiply layer. That is going to be coming pretty soon here. So really, this is more just in the moment. You won't be seeing a lot of this in the final product, so. And there we go. I think that does it for the base for the rocks, at least. So I'm gonna go water, and then the grass and stuff. Actually, I think I lied. I'm gonna do grass first, because I feel like it. And then for these underwater rocks, for the last one, I chose a pretty, like I basically just chose the pool, like the lake water here, or the pond or whatever, drug down the saturation, and they made it a little darker. And that worked out pretty well last time. So I'm gonna try something similar this time. Obviously do a little bit of experimentation here and there, you know, see what happens. That seemed to do the trick pretty well. And then obviously change the color quite a bit based on each rock. And then after a certain point, just make it more of a suggestion, less of a actual hard detail, you know. Yeah, in this reference here, the water is pretty shallow, just overall. So I'll be throwing in quite a few more rocks than the last one. Because the last one I showed you right away, that one, the reference got deep pretty quick, so you only had a few. This one should be a pretty good practice with having pretty much the whole deal, though. And then just grabbing a pretty dark blue here. Just to, again, show some more definition. To a lesser extent than the rocks that were obviously like above water, you know? But still pretty decent amount, so you can actually see what's going on. It doesn't just look like absolute shit, but... There we go. I think this is looking alright, so I'm actually going to make a copy here. Yeah, I think this is looking... it's getting there. So I can throw some stuff on top of the water here. I turn it sideways so I can not break my wrist fully. Something kind of like that, but not what I just did. I think that's a little better. And just blend it out. Maybe. I think that's coming together pretty well. Obviously it looks pretty flat still because there's no shadow or highlight, you know, it's just color. I think we can see that it do be water and there do be rocks, you know. Kinda, I'll take it a win. I'll take what I can get. I really snapped with the last one. So I don't know what happened to my monkey head for that, but... And I also found, in some of my off-camera stuff, that having like a little bit of extra color around the edges here, while it's not super visible, except for like here, but like while it's not super visible, it does help differentiate, and kind of gives that helps give that illusion of depth here, which I think we're starting to pull off. I'm gonna kind of use these as like proxy ripples. And I don't know what I'm gonna do here, so we'll just, because this is technically a waterfall here. I don't want to go too in depth because that's not the point of this, but I'll just throw some basic stuff here. There we go. And now we add some deeper ripples here. And in my practice, I'll just take it out and show you. So in this one, I think that's one of the areas that I messed up. Was the ripples here. It is also like a dead lake. Like there's no movement going on, so there shouldn't be this many. There should be some, you know. But it is like the line was way too thick, so it's like very bold and in your face. It was done at like 3 a.m., so I'll just use that as my excuse. But now it's only 10, so no excuses here. See, and then these top ones, I made them on a separate layer because I wasn't sure how the opacity was going to work out, but I think that's alright. This one's a little sideways, so I'll move that, but I think the rest of them are... They do the job, at least. Because yeah, okay, they're staying. I'm not going to fuse the layers because I'm a pussy, but... One more tier. Highlights here. There we go. I will call that good enough. For the next step, anyway. I might have just lied. I think I'm gonna actually go back around the rocks and add one more less saturated color. Because I think they're all looking kind of the same, and you can't really tell which ones are getting light or not. So I'm actually gonna go do that real quick, and then I'll be back. And it's looking kinda okay, which, tell you what, that's better than the last video, so I'll take what I can get here. So we get a multiply layer. Actually, first we're going to make this overlay. Try and get some more color in the water. So, kind of crank this, airbrush this guy. Okay, I think that works. So, multiply. I think I used a pretty neutral color here. I'm kind of forgetting. Yeah, so pretty simple. I'll just steal that, actually. I think some of this got a little muddy, so we'll try and avoid that this time. But, no, I mean, there's not really any super harsh shadows here, so it's just going to be pretty simple. We can already see it happening. It really just adds a lot of pop. It really makes the whole thing pop when you add this multiply here. can also add some extra little rocks here and there with the multiply. You know, kind of the lazy way to shade, but I like it. It's more versatile. You know, you can change the shadow color whenever you want. You can just get rid of it if you don't like it. Restart pretty easily. That flat. And now there's depth, baby. That's how we roll. Okay. And while I was doing some of this, I think that I lost some of the colors in the bottom here. So I'm going to open this up. Grab these two. I'm just going to go over some of these. I'm not exactly sure if this is like going to work or not, but I think it should help bring some of those back up. I think that is going to be solid. So now we can crack on the character. Next, I have a reference already for that, so I can pull that up. Here's the reference for that guy. So, I'm thinking I'm going to do Ina or Kiara from Hololive for this. Just because me and a couple of my friends, we're all drawing Ina. Now, nobody has actually drawn one yet, looking at you, Nick. Nobody's actually finished one yet. So I'm just going to do it and see if that kickstarts it a little bit. Thinking Ina should make sense, got the long hair, you know. Yeah. Call it good. So, now that I got the base sketch in here, I'm just going to go in, refine it a little bit, get some more definition, so we can actually work with it later. And just, you know, similar process, throw some base colors in and call it good. I'm not going to have as detailed of a sketch as I did last time, just because I don't think it'll make as much sense with the reference. Because a lot of this is going to be, like, you won't be able to tell what's going on without color, as, like, we can see, you know? So I'm going to keep it pretty simple. Just pretty much what we need to do the color. And then we can see more late after that. And I'm not going to use any line art for any of the clothing that's underwater. I might go back later and add some, but at least right now, I'm just going to skip that step. Because I feel like it might intrude on any rendering that we do later. Might get in the way, so. There we go, I think we're ready for some base colors. I'm going to, similar process to last time. Get a general idea of the character first, render the background out, come back to the character, you know. Won't change too much. It might change a little bit more than last time just because of the fact that she's underwater. But it won't be a crazy amount. All right, so next step here, we're just gonna be throwing some rocks in. The reference doesn't have too many. Actually, the reference has none. We're straying from the reference here, just to make it a little bit more interesting visually. But I'm kind of looking at this guy right here for the pool. I'm liking it, you know, not a crazy amount of rocks or anything. So I'm gonna chill out a little bit on them. But who knows, we might add some more later. Kind of just play it by ear here. I try not to restrict myself too much in thinking this is gonna be 100% how it turns out. Because I mean, a lot of the time, whether it's a skill issue or just something doesn't quite work out, your plans end up changing quite a bit. So there's no reason to force yourself to stick by something that'll make it look worse, you know? Yeah, and the reference I'm using, the rocks get quite a bit bigger as you go out, at least in the part I'm imagining, or the character's in. So we're gonna be not gonna be going too crazy here. Gonna be sure to render them though, because I think in the last practice I did, I didn't render them quite enough. One of my friends said the same thing, and I am inclined to agree, because it didn't look bad necessarily. It just didn't quite look there, you know. Like it was missing something. There was something extra to look at. And I think right about here, just in the drawing, right about here is where I'm gonna loosen up quite a bit with the rocks, so you won't be seeing nearly as many. You'll still see like little scatters of them here and there, but nothing too crazy. Because I'm imagining right around here, it like falls off quite a bit, like depth-wise. But pretty gradual, starting like here to here, starts declining. Here is pretty deep, so we're not gonna be seeing any rocks up here, but we'll see them kind of fade out as we're going up. So it's at least the plan. We'll see what happens. Plans usually change, so I'll be using these more subtle colors here for the rocks as well. Still going to scatter in some of the brighter colored ones, but going to be quite a bit more reserved. He's like, you'll still see some of the bigger rocks here, but you won't be seeing too many smaller ones, you know. Just the distance, and then also the water gets darker too. So that's at least my thought process there. And I'm gonna add maybe I won't. I'll actually shut up. I think I might change my mind, so. There we go. That's a pretty decent gradient, if I were to say so myself. Just gotta grab a darker color here. And then I'm also looking at one of my both of them. I have both of my other practices pulled up on another monitor, so I can just kind of make sure I'm still in line with what I was doing. Because I think I cooked on the first one. Second one cooked a little bit less. I think it was just a little not as careful. And I think the scene as well wasn't as interesting. So. But let's see if we can cook again here. There we go. I think it's coming together here. And this is one of the main reasons I like having a brush that can change opacity with pressure. Because instead of just having to constantly change my color, you know, throw in a little bit of lighter stuff there, Lighter there, darker here. Just easy. Quick, never gotta change the brush. Gotta love it, you know. And again, starting at about this point, gonna be going quite a bit lighter with the shadows as well. So the values make sense and just looks cleaner. So you can actually cleanly tell that there's gonna be a fall off. Tell you what, I think that's pretty solid, you know. Doesn't get much better than that. I'm just going super light pressure here, keeping a pretty shaky hand. Just so you can still see the rocks, so you can still see the difference between them, but it's not too sharp. Because if we did something like this here, like I can just show you. If we did like this, you know, it looks like it's still up front, at least to me. So a little bit wider brush. This is a little too wide, if I'm being honest, but a little bit wider brush, looser strokes, you know, less detail, so you can. So it just doesn't blend in. You can see some actual definition. I'll come back and give it a little bit more in certain spots. I feel like it needs it, but that's not too often. And then back here, it's just a really loose suggestion of the rocks being there. Nothing concrete at all. And this is another reason why doing stuff like this, I found with the practice that I did, that I like to work front to back with the rocks and stuff. Normally with backgrounds, I like to work back to front because it is less detailed and moves up. But here, since it's a gradient back, I kind of like knowing what the front is going to look like, so then when I move back, I'm kind of prepared. I know what I'm getting into, so I can like adjust properly based on however much detail I threw in the top ones. Here, I think the only minor issue is this section right here, this rock. I think it's a little too big, so I'm going to try and break it up a little bit. I think this next step here is going to be adding a bit of a highlight across the whole thing, something kind of like this. Just so there's some variation in the color. We might get rid of this later if it feels like it interferes. I think right now I'm going to add it, see how it looks, and kind of judge from there. Not entirely sure how I'm going to go about it either. But again, that's why I chose a pretty out of my comfort zone topic. See, so that try was a failure. I go back, see how I did this. So yeah, so I had a little bit of a gradient, but nothing crazy. I'm gonna go along a similar line to that practice and do the darker on the edges first, I think. I think I was cooking when I thought of that. Yeah, and these clothes aren't really gonna make sense until they're shaded, so wouldn't have any expectations for those for a minute. I think the color might be a little off, so I'll try and adjust it a bit. I'm thinking this might be a delete. I'll keep the shadows though. I'm gonna call this getting there. Right now, I'm thinking I'm gonna do the character and the lily pads first, and I'll come back to the water. Just because I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna do the clothes here to make it look like it is submerged, because most of it is. So I'll have to play around with that, see what goes down. Because this is it is kind of opposite to how I normally do things, but I think it'll make more sense in the end. So try it out. Worst case, while we're doing digital art, we can just undo and go back. So I'm starting off with a pretty similar process here to just pretty much any plants. Add some color variation, go back with final shading, but the final shading will be done with mostly a multiply layer, so just some basic stuff. I don't want to double up and then have it become way too dark. So just do some basic stuff here. Worst case, we can just add some more shading. So there's really no consequences with going a little too light right now. Alright, I think the current game plan is going to be to shade the character first and then come back to the background. Kind of running into some layering issues because the character it goes into the water and then also is out of it. So I'm going to try this out, see what goes down. Might fail, might not, kind of just play it by ear. I think this isn't too bad, actually. Kind of messing with it. Yeah, I think that kind of looks like it's folded. Or at least is something else. Doesn't look like it's completely flat anyway, so. And then I also think I'm gonna add some little rocks here and there. Just the same colors. Just to make it have a little bit more of an illusion of being see-through. Yeah, I think I'm still going to try out having a multiply layer here for the background clothing here, but we'll have to see there, because right now I'm not hating it. Let's see, this whole section is going to be underwater. For the most part, anyway. And in the reference, the main light source is coming from the top left here. So we'll try and simulate that. Obviously it's outside, so the overall shading is going to be pretty bright. Like more subtle. But for right now, we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to try and get the main stuff in. I'm gonna try out the multiply layer here as well. Might not do a whole lot, but let's see. I think I just lied. It does work. And a lot of this final detail in this section here, like the flowers and all that, that is going to be left up to mainly the highlights, I would say, to really bring it out. So right now we're just doing the base work. It doesn't really come out until later. It doesn't look really good until later, because right now it's looking kind of mid, but it's we didn't do a whole lot yet, so strong trust the process moment here. I'm just kind of messing around here, laying some base shadows and seeing how it kind of turns out. I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna make it look like it is underwater. I might just go over this area here with some of these colors on top, and that's actually kind of where I'm thinking about doing right now. Just while I'm doing some basic shading. Is how exactly I want to achieve that. I've been weighing some different options, but I think I just have to actually try something out before I come to a decision. We're trying to make this guy look like it's underwater. Let's try one thing out first, just doing a cheeky, I think right this section here. That's going to be the underwater bit. Alright, let's try a color layer. Did not work. Got you. We're going to not be lazy now. Almost wondering if the play isn't to have this, but just to do this. Just erase the actual base color. That might be... Oh, that's why. We need to add some rocks. Here we go. Now let's see how this works. That kind of works, actually. I'm going to be kind of careful where I use it. I think it's not the worst thing I've done. And now I almost wonder if having this be way more subtle would help out with some of the coloring. Yeah, I think we're getting somewhere. Just gotta add some more colors. I think we're kind of getting there, though. We gotta add some kind of just the bluish reflections pretty much everywhere. I don't know if you noticed, but she's kind of in some water. And water do be blue, so I'm gonna try and keep it subtle, but it does not look like that's working. Now we're gonna have a top layer here of like littler creases and stuff. Trying to add some more interesting bits to the clothing, you know? Give it a little bit more stuff to look at, I guess. I'm not actually focusing on like actual detail. It's more of just like throwing stuff in with like the illusion of detail. Basically just lying to you, you know. I think that works, you know. I'll take it. So if we take these off, kind of flat. Yeah, I mess with it. We're rolling here. Gonna do one more. I'm actually just gonna do it in this layer. One more layer of a little bit darker shadows, because it does look kind of flat. I'm mainly talking about like behind the hair and stuff here. I'm gonna have another layer here, just to add the a little bit more detail to the flower. I have no idea what kind these are, but whatever these are, they need more detail, so. It's just missing the color variation that everything else has, so I don't think they like necessarily look bad. They're just look out of place, so. Yeah, I'm not gonna go crazy with them or anything. But I need to add a little bit of interesting spice, you know. All right, time to put some work in on these lily pads. You know what I'm saying? Before I should I should actually, since there's a lot of green right next to the white would have a little green hue to it. I'm just gonna add that in, because I will forget for sure if I don't, so. Alright, now we can cook. Yeah, I don't know why, but the lily pad's shape, my brain just cannot wrap around, like, how it works. It's just a circle. I don't know, but I really had to lock in for some of these, and they look kind of mid, but they do the job, you know, and I am fine with that. I'm gonna be a little bit more chill with the shading here. Not gonna go as strong. Not for any particular reason. I just feel like that's the right decision. So, we'll see. It's just like a gut reaction. So, sometimes it's right, sometimes it's not. I guess we'll see at the end. Let's do a little bit more of a highlight here. And we crack the tone out. Tone puts in work. I'll have to say that. I've been trying to rely on the tone brushes a bit less because I used to like abuse them. And now I think I just use them when it makes sense. Well, I've always found them like super fun to use, so end up using them a lot, and then you end up abusing them too because of the same reason. So I'm trying to keep it to a minimum, only when necessary type situations. Although they are pretty fun to use, I'll have to say that. Let's do some of the top water now. Do some extra little things here and there. Get it to that next level. Yeah, I see some people using white for their hair highlights. And I mean, they pull it off, so like more power to them, you know, but I can never seem to make that work, and I've always liked making a custom color based on like the actual hair color. And I've always found better results like just doing that, based on my style. But I think the front lily pads are keeping their line art. I guess, yeah, just time to throw some highlights in the water and we might call it good. Oh, I lied. Almost forgot there's a top multiply for all these. All the lily pads and stuff. Forgot to put it in on the bottom, so gonna do it now. I'm gonna adjust the color a little bit too, because it is a little dark in some spots. But right now, that's not the main issue. It's just trying to get the details in there. The way it actually looks more complete. Before, after. Yeah, I think that works. I guess kind of helps, making it look kind of like the dress is like dissolving in the water. So to be honest, I'm not entirely sure how I want to do the highlights. It's like a warm color, so I'm not sure what would bring the best result there. Let's just try a normal layer first, see what goes down. I do something like, oh, that's okay. Just throw a little bit of it here and there. Let's see. Yeah, I think that works. I get rid of a few of these. make it like more sparing and like smaller out back here. But yeah, up front here we can get a little bit more going on. And if we call back to a few minutes ago when I said the hair highlights are a different color, that is relating to hair, not... I actually don't know how to describe the difference. So there's like the hair ones, this is how I think of it. There's the hair ones, and there's like a super bright, like the like a spotlight, you know? That would be a different color than the other highlights, because it's like the color of the spotlight. And in this case, the way I'm thinking about it is the spotlight is the sun. So we would have a different color there. I don't know if I was just yapping or if that made actual sense, but... And then usually the brighter the highlight is, the darker, or not the darker, the thinner the line is, especially in hair. I think that kind of gives the best result. Won't be able to tell you why, but at least in a lot of the experimentation that I've done, that has been like most consistent. It's pretty much just like by scenario basis on whatever looks best. But generally, like general rule of thumb, the brighter it is, the thinner the line. Because then it also looks sharper too. Like, because actual line is like thinner. So, tell you what, that do be a drawing. Throw some texture. I don't think I'm gonna do any blur with this one. Throw some texture. Think an overlay. I think one of these days I might try to have like a really like grainy type of photo drawing. I think that'd be pretty cool. I don't know how I would do that effect. I'm guessing it would be pretty similar with like a texture or something, like really crank it. But I think I was at 15. Yeah, that looks good enough. And I will sign it. Let's use orange. We're balling right now, so. And my handwriting's horrible, so I just do my initials, because I can kind of make that look okay. Oh my god. Alright. Call that good. And let's do a little bit of reflection here. So I think some things that could be improved on would be, I think the watercolor is a little off. It seems kind of dark. Now, I don't know if that is a highlight issue. I add more highlights or something like that. Maybe that could have been just a base color issue. Either way, I'm not going to be fixing it right now. Or at all. Because I'm going to wrap this whole deal's done. Actually, I think I just lied. I want to try something out real quick. Go over. Add glow with the bright orange. Here is being hit with the... Let's see. Really, this whole side. Let's see if this works out. This might have just solved the complaint. What do we think? Yeah, I like that. Doesn't really solve the entire problem. I still do think that this water in the back, this bit, a little too dark. But then again, if we pull the reference up here, then we kind of did our own thing for a good amount of it. But the water's pretty dark there too. But I'm not, I wish I could see like the surroundings, because I don't know if that's like shadow of a tree or something. I'd call this 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. Kind of messing with it right now. I feel like this would go pretty hard if it was like a big landscape piece, you know. It might have worked better with that. I'll do one of these too. I think that works. Alright, I think this will be the finished one. I think next time we're going to be doing a May wallpaper. I'm going to be doing monthly wallpapers, I think. I'm talking from my phone. Because right now I'm rocking the black screen. Thinking a different theme for each month would be kind of cool. So I think that'll be next video I come up with. But yeah, see ya.